Warning, MF Uncensored contains adult language and discussion. Listener discretion is advised.
We're a couple of misfits. We're a couple of misfits. What's the matter with misfits? That's where we fit in. We're not Duffy and Dilly.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MF Uncensored. Don't forget, if you guys are listening to us on the go, you can find us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, iHeartRadio, basically anywhere you guys listen to podcasts. You can also find more of our content on our website, themisfitfaction.com. There you'll find links to not only this show, but our other shows like the Multiverse Fancast and Cinematic Adventures. You'll also find links there to our reviews, our articles, our store. So if you guys are looking for a little bit of Misfit swag, that's the place for you to go. I'm Paul. I'm going to be doing the intro for you guys today. We have a little bit of a different episode where we're not doing any interview today. It's just going to be more of a topical thing. It's something that we wanted to just kind of chat about because it's that time of the year. And, yeah, we're really excited for you guys to hear it. It's something different, and we'd love to hear some feedback on it if you guys are more into the topical stuff, more into the interview stuff. You know, we like to do all sorts of things, so it's all about you guys. You're the listeners, though. So in today's episode, we're going to be sitting down. It's me and Rob, the co-host from the Multiverse Fancast, and we're just talking about things we wish we knew when we graduated high school. It's that time of the year where, at least in America, schools are finishing up. Kids are graduating, and we just kind of wanted to chat about where life was for us as seniors graduating high school, and things that we wish we knew, things that we wish that people had told us to begin with. So it's an interesting topic, and I'd love to hear you guys and hear some thoughts. And also, this episode is dedicated to the senior classes of 2022, and especially my dear friend Marissa, who's been a big fan of the show and a big supporter and is going away to college herself, and we're wishing you the best of luck, Marissa. Now, before we get started, don't forget, if you guys are looking to start your own podcast, or if you guys are maybe just interested or not sure where to start, if you guys go to podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys can get a free month of podcasting on us as a thank you to all of our listeners. And also, if you guys are looking to start your own show, let us know. We're always looking to grow the network and add new shows. So if you guys are looking to start your own podcast, that's the best way to start. Podbean.com/misfitfaction. Or maybe you guys have your own business or your own online service. Advertising is a big part of running any business. So make sure, if you guys are looking to advertise, if you guys go to our website, sponsorship.podbean.com/misfitfaction, you guys can get $100 worth of free advertising. Again, that's a thank you from us to you guys, and we always love supporting our friends and our local businesses. And speaking of businesses, guys, we've been talking about Rep Sports now since the start of the show. That's reppsports.com and Raise Energy. We are big fans of Raise Energy. It's basically been getting me through the last 2 weeks of my job, where it's just been overtime and craziness and chaos. So if you guys are looking for that afternoon pick-me-up, or maybe that a way to crush that morning workout, go to Rep Sports, reppsports.com, and enter the code Misfit89 at checkout. And without further ado, with the show. All right, welcome back to MF Uncensored. Guys, we have an interesting discussion, an interesting topic, one that I dropped on Rob at the last second, and he has no preparation.
Nope.
How does it feel to not be prepared for an episode?
I will say some of my best work sometimes comes from not planning.
So let's not forget that MF Uncensored originally was supposed to be that.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be us just kind of shooting the shit for 30 minutes or so after an episode, but
I have no shit prepared.
I know the problem is with MF Uncensored, as much as we love doing interviews and we've had some really great content, there's very few times where after recording we're like, you know what we could do right now? More recording. It's tough, but I wanted to do this one. This one's been in the back of my head for a little while now. As most of you guys know, it's currently June, and June usually means a couple things. One, summer's right around the corner for a lot of people, but also school's ending.
Yeah.
And as we get older, and I'm sure Rob can attest to this, the end of the school year.
What's that mean?
Take a test. Regents. You can Regents this. No. As we get older, summer starts to change dramatically. You know, for kids, it's a time of excitement and joy and doing all the fun things. For adults, it's more, how do I organize my summer? How am I going to do things? But for,
Well, and that's only those of us who have our summers off.
Correct. It's weird to think that most people work year round. So the reason also we wanted to do this topic was because obviously Rob works in a high school. I think I'm allowed to say that.
You are allowed to say that.
I work in a school as well. Different reasons. Different dynamics.
And different schools.
Different schools, yeah. Yes. Oh my God. Can you imagine the two of us in the school together? Oh no. You guys, you want to do a podcast? It's 10 a.m. Yeah. We'd record in your film class.
Oh yeah,
I would actually do that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Oh, the kids would love it. Too.
Oh, the kids would love it. I'm pretty sure I can't do that legally,
No, I think
but
so.
There's that. So we get to see a lot of the dynamics that change. It's funny because we're both in high schools too. So
Yes.
watching freshmen, sophomore, juniors going into summer, it's totally different than watching the seniors get towards summer. And
Yeah.
this episode kind of turned into things we wish we knew when we graduated high school. Things that we thought would be so important that we did know that ended up not being. So we're just going to have a little general discussion about just things, how our minds were different in high school and how things were different once we graduated, as opposed to now looking back on it, because Rob's a little bit older than me. Not just a smidge.
More in age than mindset.
I know, right? You're wearing shorts at 70 degrees out. Come
I know.
on. It's like 12 degrees out.
It is
a little
cold out there.
cold.
Could believe it.
So, Rob, tell me, what's one thing that you wish you could tell yourself at high school graduation?
Okay, now do you want me to go cynical or do you want me to go like positive?
Well, we're going to go back and forth with a bunch of these,
Okay.
so you could surprise me.
Oh, all right. There is nothing you can possibly do to plan out the events of your life. I think that's an obvious one. That
People still do it, though.
right, like to I got married at 23, and that is incredibly young. And I don't recommend it for a lot of people because it is like you're still trying to figure out who you are, who this other person is. They're trying to figure out themselves too, and it's a lot of struggle. But for us it worked out. Actually, this Tuesday is 25 years for us now.
God bless.
Thank you. And so I there's nothing like you think like it's funny. One of the final questions that I ask my seniors on the last day of class as we're going through the attendance list is, where are you in 10 years? Tell us about your life. And the thought is that you've already finished all your education, so what are you doing? And we get a lot of the same answers, where they're all in their profession of choice that they're thinking of right then, which is funny because when I was a senior, I was going to be a film director. That was my
Still good. Who did we talk to? John Anthony?
Yeah, oh, right.
Right? Where he literally started, I think he retired, and then he was like, I think I'm going to do this now.
Yeah,
and
he like a
acting
gym
class.
teacher at the
Yeah,
same time.
that was right.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was going to acting classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a lot of fun.
Whether I would want to now, I don't know. And I don't feel like I missed out on that either. I feel like it was just my life just took a different direction, and that was fine. But I was going to be a film director. I was going to be working on a couple films in the industry and everything. I would get married when I was around 30. I would have, children shortly after that. And a lot of the kids have answers like that too. Very few, a lot of their answers are all about the things that they want to have or the things they want to be doing. Mm-hmm. Very few of them are, well, in 10 years, I'm going to be happy. Like they don't, and I think if I could focus more on that, if I wish I could tell myself more about that, then don't worry about the details. Mm-hmm. Just worry about your mindset. Worry about, that your goal is to be happy, and whatever you do, make sure you're happy doing it. And thankfully, I do have a job where I am actually happy and excited to go into it every day. I still enjoy it. I still,
What's that like?
I still enjoy having the classes with the kids and everything. It's a lot of fun, and there's never any classes that I'm like dreading or anything.
Right.
Like so, I really do. And this is an old cliche trope of find a job that you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
yeah.
Right? And I think that's very true. If you can focus more on your happiness than anything else, I think that's an important thing. Mm-hmm. How about for you?
I would tell 17-year-old Paul that the things that you think matter so much right now don't. Nobody's going to remember. The biggest time I had that realization was when I went to my 10-year high school reunion. And it was like we were all different people. Mm-hmm. The things that we were like in high school, nobody cared about, nobody remembered. I remember going to my high school reunion, and this was before I changed to my current career. Basically, I was still teaching at the Taekwondo school, and I was getting ready to open mine. And I remember going to my high school reunion, and I was a different person. And people noticed too, because in high school, despite what anybody may think, I was quiet. Like I had my group of friends that Sean was in, and you guys all know Sean from Cinematic Adventures. Right. We had a very small group of friends, and we had fun, and we did all the stupid things, and safely, of course, because we were never those kind of kids. But I would love to tell myself at 17. I would love to even go back further and tell myself at 14, hey, all the stuff that you're worried about won't matter.
Yeah.
Like the friends who you pick, that may matter because, Sean's my best friend. Pick the right people to surround yourself with, and then everything else falls into place. Who cares what the people that you don't care about actually think?
Yeah.
I talk to more people from high school now than I did when I was in high school because I don't care. And like, when I post something, I don't think about, like, I love on Instagram just posting funny memes. That's what I do. I literally just, Rob and I talked on Multiverse Fancast, like literally just
minutes ago,
that we limit our social media posting, right? So on Facebook, I don't post anything except for, changing my pictures every once in a while. And which is funny because when I was in my 20s, I posted all the time.
Oh, sure.
We all did. And, it was more just, look at what I'm doing. Look at how great my life is. It's more of a validating for yourself.
Yeah.
And I would tell myself at 17, nobody cares. Don't stress about it. Don't think about it. Like, you are going to, if I could tell myself that in, 14 years afterwards, you're going to be married to a beautiful woman, have a job that you do enjoy, even though it's stress inducing, do your podcasting, have a beautiful house, your first house, and I would love to tell myself that, just like it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Don't stress about it.
I'll build off of that because that's one of the things I tell my students all the time is that everything you're doing in high school, all of this stuff, none of it matters.
Right.
I couldn't tell you how I did on my third chemistry test as a sophomore. All of the failures and successes, like I couldn't tell you. I don't think I even remember who my valedictorian was.
I don't.
Much less the salutatorian. None of it matters because then you end up going to college where everyone else was the valedictorian and salutatorian along with you. You end up taking I tell my kids this, that at my job we have teachers who went to Ivy Leagues. We have teachers that went to community college. Not that there's any disparity there other than in the money, but we all are working at the same place, earning the same amount of money, so none of it mattered. Like they stress so much out about, like I have some students who stress so much about getting that 100, whether it's on a test or whether it's on for the quarter, and I want to be like, 98 and 100 and even 65 are all the same in life. Yeah, we tell that to our son, to Timmy, that on the region 65 and 100 are the exact same thing. It just means you don't have to take the test again.
Right.
And none of it matters.
And we're not saying, don't work hard, don't set goals, because I think that's
right.
It's important, right? We all have goals. I mean, like I said, Rob's a little bit older than me. His life, he and I have different life structures, right? He's at a point in his life where things are, a little further developed, right? I think that's safe to say, especially his hair. It's fantastic.
Thanks.
But for me, like, I have goals. And some of them are small goals, and some of them are big goals. Like, my goal is, I love my townhouse, but I'd love to move into a nice 4-bedroom one day.
I know you're looking at having a family.
And those are all, it's great to have goals, but at the same time, in high school especially, we're not saying, go shoot for the bare minimum.
No.
We're telling you, the stress that you're putting on yourself to not get that perfect is just undue. You don't need to.
Needed, no.
And also, the kids that are the super popular ones, right? And this is the biggest cliche.
So, let's talk about popularity.
The biggest trope, the biggest cliche. Like I said, I have more friends that I graduated with now as an adult who doesn't care about other people's opinions than I did when I was in high school. I am more so, obviously social media was a big part of that. But after my 10-year reunion, things just changed where I talked to more people. Like, I have people I was like, man, I wish I were friends with you in high school. Like, I don't really know, but we're friends now. Like, it's so interesting. And everybody watches movies and TVs, and you do see like the has-been, the watch, who peaked in high school. That is that is a real thing.
Oh, absolutely.
It is 10 trillion% a real thing. That high school was like the peak of it.
Oh, yeah.
And
I have siblings like that.
So do I. But and I can't even begin to describe how silly it is. Because now, looking at high school through my adult lenses, because that's where I'm stationed, listening to these kids with their problems, sometimes it's like, guys, it doesn't matter. Like, but in their world, it's the biggest, most important thing. And I think realizing that, because a lot of times, especially adults, are like, not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Don't stress. Yeah. I love hearing about kids, like what's going on in their worlds. Because again, to that, I miss that. I miss when, I only got $20 this week at my job. Like, I miss like things like the silly things, like, or when a kid gets their first job and they're like, I made $300 every other week. I was like, yeah.
I have to say about like so many of the kids are so concerned about being socially accepted by everyone. And I've discovered that is not important. Really, if you're socially accepted by like one or two people, that's enough.
Right.
Like, think about your own life too, and as you get older too, you tend to have fewer friends. I really only have a couple of friends. And I'm okay with, yes, you're in that list.
Yes. I was crossing my fingers across the table.
I really do. I only have a couple of friends, and that's just more by choice. Like, I could have more friends. For example, there's a retirement party where a whole bunch of teachers are going this Wednesday, and I'm like, nah, I really don't want to go.
Right.
I don't want to hang out. I like, even this, after graduation, a bunch of the teachers went out, and I guilted myself into going. I'm glad I went.
Yeah.
But still, it was a struggle to sort of like just walk through the door, because I just wanted to go home and be in my house and be with my wife and everything. And
yeah,
but
if producer Melanie texted me last night. She went out with some of her former dance students.
Yeah.
She's like, "Do you want to go out after this?" I looked at my watch. I was like,
7:30.
"Oh my god, it was almost."
Really wasn't even.
Oh no, it was. I think she texted me that around 8, and at that point, I think I was just I had just finished recording with Ronnie, and I was in my sweatpants again. And she's like, "You want to go out?" I was like, "Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind?"
Like, if you really have like one or two good friends, that's really all you need in life. And I will say this too, on the flip side. Here's my little story.
Okay.
Okay. In high school, I was, and I'm sure you were too, afraid to approach certain people because they were just like socially they were so far above you,
on the pedestal.
Oh my God. And they were so popular, and they had it all together. And I've said this often, that, really, the higher you get up on the social ladder, the more insecure you get, because you have so much more to lose.
Right.
And so those people at the top are some of the most insecure people of all. And even being beautiful and being or handsome or successful, oftentimes those things aren't enough to those. I used to use those things as like, oh, I can't talk to that person because they're too pretty, they're too successful.
Yeah.
And I challenged that once. This was, and it's funny too. I went to, it was like an unofficial reunion. It was like 12 years after high school. I was like around 30, and I saw, she was the most beautiful girl in school. Stacy Bober. Stacy Bober, if you're listening, this is for you. She was beautiful in I think she only said 2 words to me all in high school, and it was probably like, go away.
Probably.
And I was always afraid to talk to her, because she was just like, oh my God, I can't possibly talk to her. And then she was there at the reunion. It was in a bar, and I saw her sitting at the bar, and she was talking to someone I knew, and he left. So she was sitting there alone, and I went, okay, I can do this. I'm going to go up. And I have to say, even at 30, all the insecurities came back. I'm like, oh my God, I can't talk to Stacy Bober. She's too pretty.
Married with a kid.
Because she still was pretty. Like, oh,
good for her.
Yes. And so I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go do this. And so I walk up to her. I'm like, hey, Stacy, how are you? And she looks at me and she goes, Rob Loalbo, oh my gosh, how are you? And the first thing that came into my brain was, oh my God, she knows my name. Because I didn't think she did.
Right.
And we sat down and we talked for about 15 minutes. I had the nicest conversation with her. She was so real and grounded, and she wasn't anything of what I was afraid of. Like, I wish I had talked to her sooner.
Yeah.
And I think maybe that's a big thing, is that, like, don't ever be afraid to talk to people because you think they're too far above you, or even below you, too, I should say that. Bill Nye has this great quote that I use all the time. Everyone you meet knows something you don't. Which now puts value on everybody, because that means everyone out there has some value to them, to you, of something you can learn from them.
I like that.
And so no matter how better you think you are than people, or how lower you think you are than people, there's always, all the people you run into have something that can contribute to your life.
And I think that mentality leads into it follows you, right? That insecurity, because I'll speak frankly. I worked at a job where my boss he's a great man, and I love and respect him, but in terms of running employees, it wasn't ideal, right? We were discouraged from calling out sick. We were discouraged from like taking time off, and it was a lot for a 17-year-old kid. It was a lot, right? Again, it added so much value to my life, but there are people that let those bullies follow them throughout their lives. Because bullies become bosses, and the popular people become,
or they become middle managers.
Oh, and for me, like, if you follow that mentality where you're doing what's best for you, as long as it's not at the cost of other people, building that in high school is going to follow you in that way, in a much better way, right? If I knew anything from my current life right now, it's just bringing that confidence. And it's not even confidence that I'm better than everybody else. It's just confidence in high school doesn't matter as much as we think it does. But again, you can't tell a 17-year-old that. Like, we're gonna have seniors from high school and who are graduating listen to this episode. It's going to happen.
Sure.
And they're all going to be like, yeah, right. Cliches and tropes and all these things and old men just talking about their glory days. High
school was not my glory
high
days.
high school sucked.
Oh my God.
High school sucked for 9th and 10th grade, and then 11th grade it started to swing back.
I don't think either one of us would repeat high school for all the money in the world, and yet here we are.
I would repeat high school knowing everything I know now.
Oh, really?
Because I would destroy high school now.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird. Because obviously I'm stationed in a high school. I am more popular now in high school than I was when I was a kid there because I don't care. And also because I have my outgoing personality now shines. Like, what am I going to care if a 16-year-old kid is like, you're not funny? I'm going to be like, bye.
I won't sleep tonight.
Dear diary, another kid was mean to me. Actually, my favorite phrase at a high school is, wow, 16-year-old being mean in a high school. Let me go alert all the news outlets. But it's funny because I would go back just with all of my knowledge. So you're saying you would never want to go back to high school?
Not at all. College I would repeat in a heartbeat. I was not into the partying or anything.
Neither
like
was
that.
I.
I loved the social aspects of college. High school is too many like minor issues.
See, I would go back to high school with all my knowledge, but the only thing that would suck would be puberty.
Oh, yeah.
Because no matter how much knowledge you have, puberty's going to kick your ass.
Oh, absolutely.
And just I feel for these kids. Like, there's so many kids that I know that are like, they're all happy and excited one day, and then, hi, Max. And I'm like, you okay? Just having a bad day.
They don't say it that way. They say it this way. I'm having a bad day.
It's just pure noise and chaos.
Please, sir, don't arrest me.
But I think even worse now for kids is just high school isn't just your social circle isn't just your high school. It's everywhere now. We have kids, social media exploded. Like my school and another local school back when I was a kid, you didn't socialize with them. Right. They were the enemy, the rival, right? The sports rivals. Nowadays, kids are playing sports together. They're socializing and they're dating. And it's so interesting how the dynamics have shifted and how, unfortunately, things that happen at high school don't just stay at your high school. They're everywhere. Yeah. And it chases you, especially the bad things. Like bullying, cyberbullying is a terrible thing. And unfortunately, it follows you. And now it's even worse. I know kids that want to go into more like acting and stuff like that and bad reviews and all that stuff. Like, it sucks when I post an episode and people are like, oh, I didn't like it. Oh, I worked hard on it.
I think I would want to repeat high school because I think even though knowing everything what I know now, there's too many things to navigate right now, like social media. Like, I don't think I would make good decisions. Like, I think about the stupid things I used to do for attention when I was in high school.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine the mistakes I would have made on whether in texting or on social media that would have just crucified me the next day in school. Mm-hmm. Like, it just wouldn't have been a good thing.
Have you seen the new Chip and Dale movie?
I have not.
So
I'm aware of it, but
so it came out on Disney Plus, and it's like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but Chip and Dale, and it starts off with Chip and Dale meeting in probably elementary school, and they never address the fact that they're cartoons and there's people in it's funny, but basically Dale comes in and he tries to be a class clown for attention, and it doesn't go over well. Yeah. And Chip becomes his only friend. And it's actually a really good movie, and I do highly recommend it. Sean and I just did an episode on it. And
really?
That review comes out this week, yeah. So it's funny because, like, the things that we did in high school to get attention were very, like I said, they were limited to your classroom. Now, if I were to trip in a hallway, it's on TikTok within minutes.
And it's sped up and it has funny music behind it.
And I can't so there are two ideas that we're kind of playing around with. There's going back to our high school. Like, I graduated 2005, so going back from 2001 to 2005, and then when you graduated high school, going back to that point,
1992.
I didn't want to say it. Going back to that time with your mentality, or starting high school now with your mentality. Oh, I'd rather go back. Yeah. See you later. Send me back to 2001. Yeah, I could not navigate high school right now.
I have lots of bits of advice, but I will lead with this one, and this will probably be my last one. Okay. I think more than anything, and this is something I say to my seniors on their last day too, is say yes to more things that come your way. Say yes to more opportunities. Like, I think about all of the things I didn't do. Like, and that's the thing is, you'll always regret the things you didn't do more so than the things you did actually do. And I think about all the things I didn't do in high school. I mean, I think about the times I did say yes. Like, I said yes in senior year to doing acting, and I was in all the plays, and I loved it. I wish I had started it sooner. So I think too often opportunities come to us, and we don't say yes because we think, oh, it'll come up another time, or it's not worth it. Like, say yes more than you say no, and I think you'll find that your life will take a lot more better directions. Like, I can think of one specific example. I'm in college. I'm a sophomore. I'm on my bike and I'm riding down a hill really fast because I have to deliver some mail for the math department. And I'm just, I'm riding down the hill and I'm going fast. And a girl is walking up the way and she smiles at me and says hi. And so I say hi back. And I'm still going on my bike and I'm like, I should turn around. And I'm like, I don't really want to turn around. It would be going uphill. I don't have time. And I said, no, go ahead and turn around. Go back and say hi and talk. And I did. And of course, I ended up marrying her.
Crazy.
What would have happened if I had just kept going on my bike? My life would have taken a completely different turn. So you never know how saying yes to opportunities will lead you to things that you're not aware of.
Right.
So don't too often, especially in high school and college, we make, and maybe even in life, we make excuses for not doing things, and just so that way we don't have to do those things. But if you just take it and just embrace those opportunities, you'll be more thankful that you did than saying no.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest piece of advice I can ever give anybody, and this is something I recently learned, is it's okay to pick something that you do for money or for financial and all that stuff. It's totally okay. But both myself and producer Melanie have had 2 experiences with burnout and with just doing something that maybe you enjoy or you're good at, but then killing yourself over it. Melanie had a job at the Child Advocacy Center, which she really enjoyed, but the workplace was not for her. And it took a toll on her.
I imagine that's a lot of burnout.
And she worked hard to push through it, especially because it was also during COVID year where everybody was feeling a certain amount of burnout and a certain amount of unknown psychological heaviness.
Yeah.
But she pushed, and I told her, I was like, hey, I would rather you make no money being happy than make all the money being unhappy. And luckily she changed her careers and she's doing really well with what she's doing. Now she's going back to school. Like, it's awesome. And I'm so proud of her. But for me, it actually happened with podcasting. So in around November-ish, December-ish, we decided to add a 3rd show.
Right.
We had been talking about it, and obviously we had just come back from a huge hiatus with the Multiverse Fancast and then creating Cinematic Adventures. And our failed attempt at Laces Out, our sports podcast.
Oh, I remember that, Laces Out.
Well, Ronnie and Sean were actually really good at it. It just became purely a scheduling conflict. And then COVID, and then this.
There's only so many things you can fit into your life.
Right. So MF Uncensored was just kind of in the works. Like, it was an idea that we had. I think we had just made the Podbean name for it, and that was kind of it. And then we got this opportunity to start doing interviews, and it took off. And it took off fast, and it took off hard. Yeah. Like, there were times where I was like, fast.
Hard.
But there were times where, like, literally I was texting you, then I was texting Sean, then I was texting Ronnie, and then I was calling you guys, and then it was like the middle of the day. Like, we're at work, and like I'm doing this and doing that, and I'm scheduling, and I'm this. Who's available this day? And I got to a point, and here's our website, here's our store, here's our 3rd podcast. Like, it got to a point where I was up at 4:00 in the morning doing editing. Like, before work, I was like, oh man, I got to put together the episode. Yeah. And it was hugely stressful and just something, even though I love podcasting, you put me in front of a microphone, I'll talk all day, especially if it's something that I'm passionate about. Sure. Hell, even if it's something I'm not passionate about, I'll have a conversation with you. But doing all that extra work, it really took a toll on me to the point where I was like, is it really worth it?
Right.
And am I still getting the same joy and the same satisfaction out of it? And this happened recently. And that's why I kind of sat down. I was like, do we want to continue doing what we're doing? Do we want to change it? And that's why I wanted to do some more topical stuff, just because it's a lot. For me, it's just better for me mentally.
Sure.
And it's also fun. And that's the whole point, to have fun while doing this. And if I find success podcasting, awesome, cool. I always recommend to people, find good balance, find ways to avoid burnout, and find a hobby. Find an outlet and take care of yourself, man. It gets harder and harder as you get older to take care of yourself, because you have a son.
Yeah,
he's a priority. Probably one of the first priorities.
Yeah, probably first.
Right. So you may need to skip that workout, or you may need to.
Oh, if he wants something, yeah, absolutely.
Or we need to go to McDonald's because I don't have time to cook. Like, things like that happen. For me, as my wife and I are married 2 years now, but just about 2 years. Holy crap! And we don't have any kids. We have a cat. but he's super low maintenance because he's cat. Like, I can wake up at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning and just kind of veg around, play Xbox, work out, do whatever, and then podcast for the rest of the day while we're supposed to be going to Jersey in a half hour. Haven't even packed.
As opposed to some of our other listeners who have recent additions to their household and are probably getting almost no sleep.
Oh, God, I can't wait.
Sorry, Brendan.
Sorry, Brendan. Yeah, big congratulations to Brendan, by the way. We haven't even mentioned it, but he and his wife just had their firstborn.
Yeah.
Zach, we're really excited for him, and haven't heard from him too much because he's probably...
I don't imagine. I remember those times, and I don't imagine we'll be hearing much from him for the next 2 years.
He still participates on Fan Feedback Friday, so, but it's interesting just thinking about it, thinking about high school, and just this month is really the time where I kind of look back and I'm like, man, I wonder if I would do better. And that's how this episode kind of spurred. So yeah. I hope it hits somebody. I hope it resonates with any of you guys, especially because if you're graduating high school right now, you are probably filled with so much anxiety, stress, and excitement. What a mix of just all the good and bad emotions that you could possibly feel.
Take it as it comes, whatever happens. Think about what are the decisions you have to make today. Make those decisions, and then anything that doesn't need to be made today, then don't worry about it. You will make that decision when it comes.
Mm-hmm. There's a character on The Flash called Captain Cold, for those of you guys who don't know, and he does a great quote. I'm gonna paraphrase it because I don't remember. He goes, "Make the plan, execute the plan, expect the plan to go horribly wrong, and then make a new plan."
Yes.
Like, life's going to throw terrible curveballs at you all the time, and just, what does Muhammad Ali say? He's like, something about everybody has a plan until they get hit in the face.
Oh, yes.
Was that Mike Tyson, maybe? I don't know. It was a boxer. Yeah. But that's the way life is, man. You can make as many plans, and you can be like, I want to do this by this age, and cool, have your goals, make them achievable, but always expect to...
Oh, yeah. Don't expect that you're not going to fail.
Oh, yeah.
You are going to fail, miserably and horribly so. But it's not about that. It's about, are you able to pick yourself back up and learn from that failure and move forward?
Yeah. And we're going to leave it on that because that was a great way to end it. And I want to thank Rob for staying a little extra after.
Oh, happy to.
After recording to do something a little bit different, something outside our wheelhouse.
Anything where I can still express my slight, somewhat crush for Stacy Bober, I might still have.
I'm going to find her on Facebook. Okay. I'm going to find her and be like, my friend Rob said you were the prettiest girl in high school.
She really was.
Yep. Hi, Lauren.
I didn't go to high school with Lauren.
Oh, okay.
So,
that's right. All right.
Technicality.
Life's all about technicalities, but that's going to wrap us up. If you guys are looking for more of our content, make sure you check out our website, themisfitfaction.com. You'll find links to not only this show, but also our other shows like the Multiverse Fancast and Cinematic Adventures. You'll also find links to our articles, I'm a part pirate, but Rob's reviews of different shows and movies. We also have our store on there, so make sure if you want to pick up some Misfit swag, that's the place to do it. And on social media, type in Misfit Faction. There's a fair chance you'll find us. In fact, we put that to the test during a recent interview where they asked us, we were being interviewed, Ronnie and I, and they asked us to plug our show at the end. And we said, if you type in Misfit Faction, there's a fair chance you'll find us. One of the guys actually was like, challenge accepted.
Oh, wow.
Does it? And he actually right away. So that was a lot of fun because I know that there's another group called the Misfit Nation.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, we're better. Factions are better than nations. God. But so thank you guys for listening, and we will see you guys next time.
See you later.